Hello and welcome back to the AOR F1 Championship on Xbox using F1 2016. It's time for round 6 and we're at the circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal. My name is Justin and joining me for this Canadian Grand Prix, it's Fisi.
Yes, hello Justin, hello everyone. Back in the commentary box again because LAK unfortunately has had some technical issues, which means he is not able to be here today. So instead, I'm coming in as a bit of a substitute to witness what should hopefully be an exciting race around Montreal, which it's an interesting track, I think it's fair to say, so I'm certainly looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's always exciting, is the Montreal circuit, so everybody I think is looking forward to this, drivers and spectators alike. Last time out, the Flying Finn extended his already reasonable points gap in the championship to a completely unreasonable 35 points after just 5 races, amassing an incredible 111 points, with TRL Martin sat on 76 points and leaving him more worried about the other Mercedes driver of Cupid, who is just 6 points behind and poised to displace the Red Bull driver for second place if he's not careful. The big movement from last week, however, came from the manner of RS Falken after picking up his first ever AOR podium, which catapulted him into 8th in the standings. That's how the championship is looking heading into one of the most exciting races on the calendar. Let's kick off the remaining 10 races in this season, starting with the side-by-side qualifying lap and qualifying report.
Here we are at Canada for round 6 of AOR Season 13, looking at laps between the Flying Finn and RS Falken. Both are going to be braking just after the 100 meter board for turn 1 into 3rd gear and then flicking it down into 1st for the best car rotation for turn 2. Now up the hill towards the tricky turn 3, braking at about 75 meters and taking it in 4th gear, taking as much curb as you can on that right hander. And now coming up to the end of sector 1, at the split you can see Finn is about a car length ahead of Falken there. Now through this tricky left and right hander, it's very easy to lose the car on the traction of that corner. And now down this straight towards another tricky chicane here, through this right hander, braking at the shadows in the bridge, taking as much curb as you can through that right and then the left. A bit of oversteer on the exit for Falken there. But here we are coming up towards the end of sector 2 and you can see Finn still carrying that same advantage that he had through sector 1, braking at about the 100 meter board now for the hairpin into 1st gear for the best car rotation and then being careful on the traction down this very long back straight and opening up the DRS now and preparing yourself to brake at the 100 meter board for this final chicane. It's so tricky, this chicane is, and let's see how they take it both down into 3rd gear, taking as much curb as they can. Lots of speed taking it through that chicane for both, and coming up towards the line we see Finn is just over a 10th ahead of Falken there, both going to be lining up on the 2nd row of the grid.
So looking at the full qualifying order for the Canadian Grand Prix, and it is as usual a Mercedes on pole, but it is not the Flying Finn this time. Here's our Cupid taking pole with a 1:11.3 lap time, and he will be joined by the Bahrain pole sitter VBR Suphrize on the front row alongside him. On the 2nd row though, we have the 2nd Mercedes, the championship leader, the Flying Finn, lined up alongside RS Falken, another solid qualifying in the manner. STS F1 Alonso and Suphrize Meh will be on the 3rd row of the grid, while there's a double Haas effort on the 4th row with Killer Whale and Danny only 12 thousandths of a second apart. Then comes the McLaren of Seiyariu Hamilton, ahead of the man sitting 2nd place in the championship, TRL Martin, just like in Monaco, having to fight his way up from qualifying in P10. His teammate Reversal follows only 5 thousandths of a second behind him in 11th. Then we have Lucky Dog 2000 now in the Toro Rosso, Franglish in the Manor, and then Terra Limitless in the Renault, rounding up the top 14, separated by less than a second. Towards the back of the pack, TRL Williams will line up ahead of Jason, who is surprisingly far down on the grid. And starting from the back, CR63 and 6 Skills, the 2 drivers in the league yet to score a point so far this season. 4 drivers unfortunately missing from the grid today, but let's turn our attention now to the race for the Canadian Grand Prix.
Welcome to the grid here in Canada, a country ruled by a man named Justin, so you know I love this place. We've got 18 drivers on the grid for this 35-lap race, and just like in Monaco, there's a Mercedes on pole position, but this time it's Cupid. And once again though, Fizzy, the pad users seem to be suffering here, just like last time out.
Yeah, it does seem to be the case. Obviously, the pad users would have known coming into Monaco and Canada that those tracks are tracks that don't really suit the pad too well. Obviously, a bit of delay on the direction changes, so especially through the chicane, especially the last chicane around here, is where the pad user really will be struggling quite a bit. You can see the track layout here. Obviously, a couple of quite good overtaking spots with the DRS zones there as well, and should be a lot more overtaking certainly than Monaco, even though actually Monaco wasn't too bad for overtaking in this league. So it should be a lot of action. And in terms of strategy, you know, those starting outside the top 10 will be in with an advantage with that super soft, or vice versa, will be a very good strategy. Those starting on one ultra soft might struggle to do the one stop, but they might try.
Yep, so we will have to see as the drivers are making their way to the grid. Everybody is on now, and the lights are starting to come on board with the Sauber of Suphrize Meh. Down in 6th position as the lights come on. We've got 5 lights, and they're away, and it's a decent start for the Sauber driver. The Flying Finn looking like he got a lot of wheel spin, already pressuring Cupid, while RS Falcon, who was on the podium last time out, goes right around the outside of Cupid at turn 1. Inside line for turn number 2. Suphrize takes the lead, and the manner up into 2nd position. It's not gone well. I think that was Reversal, who's got down into last place. Killer Whale completely misses the breaking point. I don't know if there was contact there heading in towards turn number 3, but that was a very interesting one there. Jason97 F1, who started way outside the top 10, I'm pretty sure, already making up positions, going a bit wide through turn 6 there. He's got a car on his left-hand side, and it is his teammate, TRL Limitless, around the outside at turn 7. An incredible overtake on Jason. I'm not sure how kind he was being for him, but again, Falcon in 2nd position, ahead of both of the Mercedes cars. That is an incredible start to this race, Fizzy.
Yeah, bizarrely a slow start for both the Mercedes guys, and the qualifying has been basically rendered pointless already. The amount of overtakes we've seen already in this race as Killer Whale does a nice little dive up inside of Terrell Williams at the hairpin without making contact, which is good to see. So now obviously it's a case of trying to stay within slipstream of the car ahead, quite crucial on the back straight especially. Going through the front chicane now. Suphrize starting to pull away just a tiny bit, and Falcon, yeah, like you said, doing such a good job off the start to get up to 2nd place. So we got a French 1-2 at the moment in the race. Falcon building on that podium last time out at Monaco, and also Suphrize having had 2 strong races in a row. So yeah, definitely a great start for those guys.
Yeah, and of course Canada, heavy French influences all throughout the country, of course, in particular in Montreal. So I'm sure they are very happy about that, feeling some national pride. Oh, into the braking for turn number 6, and Suphrize Meh getting very, very close to STS F1 Alonso. 6 Skills going very wide through turn 6. That's going to put CR63 and the other Sauber up onto the back of him. No points for either of these drivers just yet. This is for P15 this battle is for, but up the inside and actually taking the racing line just about for turn 8 and 9 chicane is CR63, so up a position, and just moving just a little bit up the road, we got Killer Whale and the Haas going up the inside into the hairpin on the, I believe that was the Renault of Jason. Yes, it was Jason, who started on those soft compound tires, while Killer Whale started on the ultra softs. Here we go. Reversal, who I had mentioned was down into 18th on the opening lap, does look like he's recovered past Franglish. He's going to grab another position off of 6 Skills and may even have a look at CR63 diving up the inside. No, he thinks better of it, coming into the final chicane as they start lap number 3. And here's a replay of that incredible start, Fizzy. Go ahead and talk us through that.
Yeah, so Cupid from pole gets a really slow launch for whatever reason. Finn trying to get up the inside, but there was no space there. Cupid wasn't having it, and he closed the door. Then he got shoved slightly wide by Falcon. It looked like he tried to turn into turn 2 there, Cupid, but Falcon was there. He had to turn out of it, and that's how Falcon got into 2nd place. So here we can see from the midfield with AOR Reversal. Oh, and he gets tapped in the back from the other manner of Franglish there into turn 1. That is definitely unfortunate, and it did look like Frank did stick his nose up a place where it wasn't really going to work out, and it was 3 wide behind them as well, actually, with with Jason going around the outside of his teammate and at least a couple of other cars. So yeah, fantastic start from a few guys, but disastrous start from a few others.
Yeah, incredible stuff. I'm surprised we actually didn't see more carnage. Of course, Reversal did go spinning around, but He is continuing on and already making up positions, so he is on a charge. Speaking of on a charge, here goes Cupid up the inside into the final chicane on RS Falcon, easy as you like, with the DRS assistance, and as well, his teammate, the Flying Finn, is going to pick up the DRS in the second activation zone as they finish lap 3 and start lap 4. This is going to give him the inside line for turn number 1 as well. He's later on the brakes in comparison to Falcon, and he is down into 4th position. So it was a fantastic start for Falcon, but it seems that he has already been dropped out of the podium positions, and in fact, he's got STS F1 Alonso all over the back of him. In fact, I thought it was a bigger gap between Alonso and the Mercedes cars, but no, it seems Alonso and even Suphrize Meh as well are just kind of following through. We'll see how quickly they can navigate around Falcon, or even if they can at all. Of course, again, the Manor really driving very well right now after that podium in Monaco, challenging for 2nd position. Killer Whale trying to make another overtake, this time on Lucky Dog 2000 now, if I remember correctly, the 2 Americans going side by side into the turn 8-9 chicane. CR63 gets it all wrong and goes very wide at the exit of turn 8, and that's going to be another position for AOR Reversal. Again, he is driving very well aside from that spin on the opening lap. Jason97 F1 has company at the hairpin on the right-hand side, and here goes the Flying Finn on Cupid again. DRS assisted into the final chicane, and that is up into 2nd position for the Flying Finn. But really, I mean, it's just looking oh so easy for Suphrize right now, you have to say.
Yeah, it really is. It's quite surprising, actually. Even though we know that Suphrize is good around here, he obviously was battling Finn for the lead here in Season 12 as well. So it may be sort of a specialist track for Suphrize. That's very close at turn 1 with Jason losing on the position there. And then we have Danny also keeping up well with that train, actually, behind Suphrize Meh. All of the top 7 at least are keeping up pretty well, at least up to 2nd place. The Flying Finn now will be under pressure on Cupid though, because he doesn't have DRS of Suphrize, of course, and Cupid might try to kind of reverse the move that Finn just did on the previous lap. Now back in the lower end of the pack, Williams not quite getting the run he would have wanted out of that particular chicane. Reversal, who started actually 11th, but on the Ultra Soft. That's an interesting strategy choice, because you would have thought that starting outside the top 10, you would have chosen to go on either the soft or the super soft to go for the 1 stop, which tends to be better strategy. Okay, that's going to be an early stop for Reversal anyway, because he's smashed off part of his front wing there, so that's going to make his race even more difficult, as Cupid does indeed make the reverse Finn move, and it's going to be a double blow for Finn potentially, with Falcon also having DRS there. And now Jason taking that position back from Lucky Dog into the chicane, and I just can't stop speaking because there's action absolutely everywhere. And again, the side by side, this time Killer Whale on Cyril Hamilton. Can he get this move done nice and easy? Yeah, runs him out of the room on the exit. Hamilton back out of it already, so it's no problem there. And Justin has another overtake. I can't even count. We've had too many already.
And it's happening all over the track as well. RS Falcon looking to maybe make something happen here into turn 8. No DRS assistance on this back straight between 7 and 8, of course, but he is going to pick up a pretty good slipstream, but no, not close enough to make any sort of overtake attempt at it, but he has made contact. He goes into a spin, and I think he's possibly collected the Sauber, possibly the McLaren as well. His teammate Suphrize Meh as well is going to have to hand a position back. It looks like he's been affected by that incident as well, and it looks like he is going to go wide. Oh, and there's more contact between Alonso and Suphrize Meh at the hairpin. Alonso does make it through, but that puts Danny M7 right onto the back of him. I think it's 3 wide for 5th position at the moment, but there's the Red Bull actually on the left-hand side. TRL Martin is going to make up tons of positions as a result of all of this. He's going to have to go around the outside of Alonso. Can he get onto the brakes late enough? Remember, to our viewers, TRL Martin is on the pad, which we mentioned is on a deficit, and AOR Reversal gets it all wrong under braking once again, removes even more of his front wing, more carbon fiber strewn across the track as Reversal makes an early pit stop at the end of lap number 6. Suphrize Meh, meanwhile, down to 7th position and trailing Danny M7 as they climb the hill towards turn 3. Gets on the brakes nice and early, making sure not to run into the back of that Haas up ahead, and it looks like AOR Reversal has decided to fit a set of the soft compound tires after that early pit stop from the Red Bull driver. RS Falcon way down in 10th position behind Killer Whale and CRL Hamilton. and is having a hard time. He's also got Tiara Limitless just behind him. Killer Whale having a look possibly at Hamilton. No, thinks better of it. Again, no DRS assistance there, and nearly running into the back of him. And I have to say, Fizzy, I think that's the main issue that we've been seeing is braking while in that dirty air. As Killer Whale does make the move up the inside of the hairpin. He's still got Hamilton on his left-hand side. Does he have the traction coming out of the low-speed hairpin? He actually does not. Hamilton fights back at him. It's going to be a drag race as Cupid now becomes the first of the front runners, and RS Falcon is going to go up the middle, going to do the twofer. He's still got one car on his right-hand side as they head into the final chicane. He's just about left enough room, but maybe not, and Tiara Limitless makes the overtake, and oh man, I know what you were talking about now, about not being able to stop, because Canada is just throwing us all sorts of overtakes here. Suphrize Meh into the pits, and it looks like it's going to be a dreadful stop. 5.3 seconds for the Sauber driver is really not what he wanted. He's going to feed out just behind Cupid. Cupid's way down in 14th after that stop, and I mean, it's just non-stop action.
I don't even know what this race is, to be honest. I think Cupid must have lost quite a bit of time in the pits, actually. Yeah, as you say, there's Surprise right behind him. And this is another move. This is another nearly 3 wide. This was when Martin went into the pits. Oh, and Danny maybe got caught out by Martin braking late for the pit entry on his left side there and missed the chicane quite a lot, so that's going to hurt him by a couple of seconds, but not too bad. At least he's kept his front wing intact, unlike what can be said for quite a few of the other drivers so far. It seems like some drivers care about the front wing a bit more than others so far in this race. Let's see now. On lap 8 we got Suphrize from the lead into the pits ahead of the Flying Finn, who does carry on for another lap in, actually, so that's interesting. Some drivers going for the undercut while Finn here wants to preserve his tires. Maybe you gotta wonder if it is technically possible. Why is this going on here? Oh my word. So Seiyariu 63 has confirmed himself as a future champion for some kind of league by going into that wall. Yeah, I completely lost what point I was trying to make earlier, so I'm going to just hand it back to you, Justin, and try good luck.
Yeah, more drivers into the pits. I mean, we're having a hard time not even just calling all these overtakes, but all the strategies and pit stops that are going on as well. Killer Whale fits a set of the softs, a nearly 5-second stop for him, and the other Haas of Danny M7 coming out on a fresh set of soft compound tires. He's going to have company at the exit of the pit lane here. Yeah, he's got a car on his right-hand side. I think he's just about got it. Yeah, that is Reversal.
Wait.
That's right behind him. Killer Whale just ahead of him. Lucky Dog 2000 now following behind Jason, and he's got Suphrize right behind him, so that is not good. The race leader has come out right in the middle of this battle for second position, or what is essentially second position at the moment. He does make a very easy move up the inside on Lucky Dog 2000 now. He is going to pick up the DRS down this straight as well, and crucially, the Flying Finn, of course, would not have picked up DRS there. RS Falcon is looking like he needs to come into the pits last lap. His rear tires are in the 70 or so range, and he does indeed come into the pits at the end of lap 9 to get rid of those used ultra soft tires. Jason 97 F1 does have to worry about VBR Suphrize coming on his left-hand side, inside line for the one-time race leader, and he does grab that position fairly easily as the Flying Finn feeds out of the pits, and he's actually going to come out just behind 6 Skills, who I believe has not pit yet, and he's actually got Franglish on his right-hand side, if I'm not mistaken, but he is going to outbrake him into turn 3 and hold on to that position. Oh, and that's not what you want to see. More contact between front wing and rear end, and this time between the two teammates of the Haas team. Danny M7 getting a little bit of a love tap there from Killer Whale under braking. Not severe front wing damage, Fizzy, but you have to say really any front wing damage is going to be really tough to deal with here at this circuit in particular.
Yeah, definitely. As we got another overtake incoming. Flying Finn on 6 Skills, obviously hasn't pitted yet. Flying Finn on the super fresh soft tires. Now 6 Skills soft tires will also be in a good state, because they are quite durable around here, especially compared to the ultra soft tires that Finn just got rid of, but that's a nice easy move for him. I did notice actually on lap 8, in that massive bunch of cars in the pits, both of the Haas drivers were in the pits at the same time. Neither get held up, so I'm not quite sure how that was possible.
So they broke time and space, is what you're saying.
They must have done something like that, because that was definitely very weird indeed. But they're still close on track, so, you know, it's all good for them.
So Haas is developing some sort of quantum physics pit stop where two cars can exist in the same place. Yeah, that's interesting. Apparently their budget has really gone up this season. But yeah, Lucky Dog 2000 now up to the back of Jason 97 F1. The Flying Finn just behind him. I don't believe either of those cars has stopped yet. And we're on... Whoa! Oh! What? Okay! Well, maybe Haas's, dabbling in time and space has caused some sort of horrible incident for Jason 97 F1, because that's an interesting one. I hope we'll get a replay of that, and hopefully, when we do, you could talk us through that, Fizzy. But yeah, that was a...
sure, okay.
or attempt to talk us through it, because that was a strange one. But the Flying Finn still stuck behind Lucky Dog 2000 now. Looks like he's going to make a dive up the inside. Again, much fresher tires on the Mercedes by comparison to the Toro Rosso. And yeah, I think this is that incident, Fizzy.
Yeah, okay, so let's see. Lucky Dog behind Jason, who has a major lag spike. He didn't look that crazy ahead of Lucky Dog, but obviously, let's see from Jason's view again. From him, he's just driving it, and it's Lucky Dog for him that just lags forward into his car, takes his tire off, and he goes straight on into the wall. That's very bizarre. We've seen a few similar sort of lag incidents previously, but yeah, it's always a massive surprise.
The Marshal wasn't even fazed by it. I mean, he was just stone cold. I mean, that was pretty incredible here. So one of the benefits of retirements, as we all know in AOR, though, is we do get these lovely trackside cameras. As we're having a look at Cupid right now, I presume it's Falcon up ahead of him. Of course, I don't know exactly which drivers it is. It is Franglish, actually, that's ahead of him, who is running around on the soft tires. So yeah, Cupid getting held up quite a bit here. He has lost out to his teammate pretty significantly. He's going to get the better exit out of turn 2, though. That's going to give him the inside line for turn 3, and he's going to move up ahead of Franglish. And it looks like there's a McLaren trying to follow behind. And here is Falcon. Here's the other manor that I was wondering about. And he's down in P12 now behind Suphrize Meh, and with a fairly decent size gap up ahead, 1.5. What's that?
Yeah, that incident earlier on that obviously dropped.
Oh, right, yeah, of course.
Whereas Cupid actually did change his front wing, by the way. The pit stop, which is the reason why he lost so much compared to Finn and Suphrize up ahead as well. But speaking of Finn, actually, he's got now Limitless ahead of him, who started down in 14th, hasn't pitted yet. So we're starting to maybe feel a little bit of wear on those soft tires, but running in a solid second place at the moment. I was trying to stay out of trouble by the looks of it, has Limitless. But Finn is going to take that position, though, demote the Renault driver to third place. And let's now see, Justin, as Finn comes across the line, what the gap he needs to close is to Streets. Never mind, because we didn't get to see.
Yeah, just over 5 seconds, so yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. Keep it now up into 6th position after making that overtake. And onto the back of the Red Bull. Is that Martin? I would assume that is Martin, unless it's Reversal, who still hasn't pit yet. But Cupid, again, the Mercedes, just very strong in the traction zone. And yeah, he does get the inside line on Martin and grabs that position fairly easily, moves back up into the top 5, but again, fairly decent sized gap to his teammate up ahead. It's not really looking like he can contest with the Flying Finn or Streets at this point. Lucky Dog 2000 now running a little bit of a lonely race at this particular time. He has a decent sized gap to Cupid behind, but you have to wonder how long that's going to last, because the Mercedes definitely on a charge. Appears to be leading a bit of a train as well, so he might be bringing some company when he does catch up to the back of him. RS Falcon now onto the back of CR63. It looks like Tyrrell Williams, the Ferrari driver, out of this race. His day has come to an early end, and RS Falcon looks like he's going to size up the Sauber here. He's going to get the DRS, of course, and I don't believe CR63 is going to pick up the DRS off the car ahead. We'll see as we cross the activation line now. Does pick up the DRS, yeah, and the Sauber does not, and he moves nicely over to the right-hand side. I think he knew there was no way to fight Falcon on that one, and actually it's another Sauber just ahead. Meanwhile, the two Haas boys are going to go side by side into the final corner. Danny M7 with the inside line. Understandably, Killer Whale, I thought he backed out of it, but there may have been contact, or at the very least some sort of oversteer for Killer Whale there. So SCS F1 Alonso we're on board with now. He's now down into 6th position after just over 15 laps of racing, and man, what an intense 15 laps of racing it has been. He does have the Red Bull just ahead of him. Yeah, that's going to be Martin just ahead of him, with Cupid in 4th up ahead of him. So nice little grouping of cars here. and all being led by the Toro Rosso as it stands right now. We haven't seen Suphrize all that recently, Fizzy, but I think it's safe to assume that things are going fairly smoothly if we haven't seen him.
Yeah, exactly. Usually when we see something from Suphrize, on board at least, it's something that's gone wrong, but nothing of that so far. So he's having a strong race as we now got Danny and Limitless, who's now come out of the pits actually on ultra soft tires. They'll be really, really fast at this point in the race, especially fighting those soft tire runners. So Limitless out of the pits, he's definitely then going for a 2-stop strategy despite having started on the soft tires. A little bit surprising maybe, but I guess tire wear was too much for him to make that work. Let's see now on Martin on lap 17, running in P5, still just going to take P4 from the Toro Rosso. If he can make it stick under braking for the chicane, Toro Rosso backs out of it. So that is a nice easy move for him. Suphrize Meh as well has gone past the Toro Rosso into the chicane as well. Got to make sure to keep it within the track limits nicely. He has done that, so that's a nice clean move. And now actually, Lucky Dog losing straight another position. Alonso trying to keep up with Martin there. I believe those two are on the same strategy because both of those started inside the top 10 and therefore started on one ultra soft tires and therefore are now on similarly one, I would imagine, soft tires as well. As you can see, Martin now just trying to not to be put off, I guess, by the pressure of the McLaren behind him. Martin, of course, who has a championship battle still sort of intact, 35 points up to Finn, 6 points down to Cupid. He's had a troublesome couple of races. So was in Monaco, didn't work out too well for him, even though he did salvage some points there. And again, here today, he's not quite going to plan for Martin, but I think the coming races will play a bit more into his hands.
Yeah, again, of course, Martin on the pad, but speaking of pad users, Limitless just makes quick work of Falcon in the hairpin. That was pretty incredible. He's, of course, got those very soft Ultra Softs after pitting on lap 15, so it's TRL Limitless making great use of those fresh Ultra Softs. AOR Reversal, meanwhile, the other Red Bull driver, not going so well today. He was looking fairly strong, but then just a couple of incidents that broke his front wing. And with the changes of direction, I mean, you have a change of direction at 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 6 and 7, 8 and 9, and 13 and 14. So, I mean, front downforce is king here. And unfortunately, losing your front wing is going to really hurt that. Danny M7, lovely up the inside, but great defending from RS Falcon. Hangs it around the outside, grabs the inside line for turn 7, and is able to hold him off. TRL Limitless, again, up into 8th position with those fresh set of Ultra Softs. And here's RS Falcon coming under attack from Danny M7 from Falcon's point of view. That was on lap 20 now. So that was an interesting one. Limitless into the hairpin with the Sauber running very close behind. He's definitely going to get DRS, but the Sauber may pick up the DRS off of the Toro Rosso as well. So we'll see if Limitless is able to make any sort of moves into the final chicane, as we're well past the halfway point of this race, halfway distance. And already so many overtakes have gone on, and it does look like Limitless very strong through that final chicane. Is going to close in significantly on the Sauber. He defends on the left-hand side. Limitless goes around the outside, breaks oh so late, and takes the apex, even takes the racing line for turn 1. Lovely as you do. Again, Limitless on those fresh ultra soft tires. He did stop on 15. I'm not sure if he can pull 20 laps on a set of Ultra Softs. That would be pretty impressive. CR63 does come in for a fresh set of Super Softs as well as a front wing change. So yeah, more front wing changes here, Fizzy. I guess the teams are really going through those this weekend.
Yeah, might not be too many left by the end of this race. And obviously feels like such a long time when you're sitting there waiting for that change to happen. You're losing about 7 seconds, but it feels like a lot more. But even so, 7 seconds is gonna, put you out of whatever pack you were in on the track previously. Oh, and that's a 3-second penalty actually for Danny coming out of. Oh my God, I'm actually gonna point out that he nearly hit the banner. That was very close, and he has touched the wall. It remains intact on the front wing, at least. That is very crucial indeed, as he tried to overtake his teammate. Nearly went very, very wrong there, but he lives to fight another day. Has to catch back a bit of time though. Falcon now going for the move back on 6 kills at the end of lap 21 to get himself back into the top 10, of course. He was well inside the top 10 in the early part of the race before he had his issue. But now he has his teammate ahead of him, interestingly. Franglish, who I believe still hasn't pitted, still going on the soft tires that he started the race on. And Danny goes into the pits as well. So he's gonna change, you'd assume, onto a set of super softs to go to the end, and he does indeed. So it's gonna be one stop strategy for Danny. We'll see how that pans out as we get further on in the race. Obviously, much more soft tyre runners that will need to pit yet in this race. But let's now just see if Falcon can line up his teammate on I think these guys are on different strategies as well.
Yeah, I'm wondering just how much of a fight Franglish is going to put up here with Falcon. I mean, Falcon clearly faster. If he's even able to pull alongside on the rundown towards turn 8, then clearly he, at this stage of the race, he is currently a lot quicker. As on board with the Flying Finn, we haven't really seen much of Finn or Suphrize in the past, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. But that 5.1 second gap that we saw before just got down to under 4 seconds, and that was after a lot of racing. So you have to say Suphrize is looking pretty good for the win at this stage, as I put the commentator's curse on him to ensure that he DNFs out, which now that's a reverse commentator's curse, so that's going to now... Okay, I'll stop there. But RS Falcon is going to claim 7th with Lucky Dog into the pits. He's going to go for a set of the Ultra Softs. Bit of an aggressive move there. That's at the end of lap 22, so that's a 13-lap stint on the Ultra Softs, but that is with low fuel, of course, so that'll make things slightly easier for him. And Falcon, after recently overtaking his teammate, is now coming under pressure from TSR Cupid, who has switched over to those Ultra Soft tires, and wow, with the inside line and then with the outside line around turn 7, Cupid makes pretty quick work of that manner. Really not much Falcon could do about that one, and we can see the gap already starting to grow between the two of them. Killer Whale! Woo! That was a bit of a moment for Killer Whale at the exit of turn 9, and the Flying Finn is going to be into the pits for his final scheduled stop, as switching back on board with Killer Whale, as he was having that issue early in the lap. It was looking like he was maybe losing the back end, so he may be coming into the pits at the end of this lap. Certainly it does seem at this point in time that the two-stop strategy is preferable, but no, he is going to continue on following, I believe that was Franglish. Flying Finn, though, is going to come out of the pits, and he is going to be right alongside Limitless, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yep, that is JD in the mirrors, looming large in the Renault, but of course, the Flying Finn, the reigning AOR champion, the Season 12 champion, and on those fresh ultra soft tires is going to be, of course, very, very quick. Lucky Dog 2000 now just outside of the points as it stands right now, with a decent sized gap to AOR Reversal up ahead in the sister team Red Bull car, and with a fairly decent sized gap to Danny M7 behind. Switching on board with Killer Whale, he's just inside the points. Couple of points for him as it stands right now, and I don't know if he has any more stops to make, but we switch over to Falcon, and we'll possibly see a perfect view of the Killer Whale in the Haas coming through up the inside through the hairpin, and I think he's going to get DRS. Yes, he is, because certainly Falcon's not picking up DRS here, and certainly with that DRS you would expect the Haas to start to pull away. Yes, he does, and Falcon will get a slight slipstream here, but actually the Haas dives into the pits anyway, as I thought he might do on the previous lap. So yeah, Suphrize on the Super Softs, Flying Finn on the Ultra Softs, and is that Suphrize caught in traffic, Fizzy?
It does look like there was a car ahead of him. I'm not quite sure who that was, actually. We'll have to wait and see, as actually Cupid is going to go for the move on Limitless into turn 3 there. That's not the place you usually see overtaken, actually, but Cupid on those super fresh Ultra Soft tires just making that one work. Cupid pit on lap 22, so he's going to have to do 13 laps though on those Ultra Softs, which might mean a lot of wear in the last few laps of the race, but we'll see how that one pans out, and that's a warning for Danny, who is fighting with his teammate again, who obviously Killaway has now been in the pits for a second time, and that's a dive again from Danny. Is Killaway going to be able to hold it around the outside? He's going to be forced onto the curb a little bit, but nice traction for him regardless. And Danny, though, is going to remain partly at least alongside and force Killaway to defend into the next chicane, and he does indeed try to cut underneath him to get a better run out of the corner again. Will he cut to the left? Will he cut to the right? It goes for the left-hand side, which means the outside into the hairpin. And these teammates are still going at it. They are definitely not helping each other out, but I guess there's not too many cars immediately ahead of them, so they are battling nice for position. Only 11th at the moment, but we'll see if that turns into any points fight later on.
2 cars in the pits.
Yeah, exactly. So it might well turn into points fight very, very soon, as Danny gets to move it on finally, with the help of DRS. The Killer Whale was defending well until then, but of course, now again, on the second DRS straight, Danny will get an extra help to pull away as well with a double DRS zone. So Lucky Dog is now into nice point scoring for position for him. Also pit on lap 22, so it's going to be a bit of tire saving for him. Oh, and that's a 3-second penalty. That's going to be quite annoying as well, especially considering there's a few cars not too far behind. So it might drop him a few places at the end, but of course, Canada, a track that is, you know, quite easy to get penalties on. We'll have to obviously see. We never really know at these sort of tracks where people actually finished until we see the results.
Yeah, thankfully, it's not like track limits has been a huge discussion for us this weekend. Certainly of the times, wow, the Haas guys just getting right back into it. No time to discuss anything else. Killer Whale's going to have to do it around the outside at the hairpin. Danny gives him the room. If nothing else, these guys have been fantastically respectful to one another while battling for this P11 position. We'll see if any more cars end up going into the pits at the end of this lap. So I think they may actually just end up just outside the points. I can't imagine anybody pitting at the end of lap 27 or later. That just doesn't seem likely. I would imagine 25, pretty much the cutoff, as RS Falcon has TRL Martin shooting up the inside at turn 3. Another overtake at turn 3. Again, really not a place that you generally see those types of overtakes, but AOR Reversal, who incredibly is up into P7 as it stands right now after that very difficult start to the race, was down into literally last place. Oh, and he's going to pick up a warning through the final chicane. It's not going to give him any sort of penalties or anything like that, but he does lose the position to Lucky Dog. Killer Whale is once again defending from his teammate Danny M7. Looks like he's sizing him up here. Into turn 1 they go. Inside line for Killer Whale. Outside line. Oh, he gives him a big old squeeze. He kind of cut him off there. No contact, I don't think, though, between the two teammates as they start lap number 28 now. So we're approaching about 80% distance of this race. About 7 laps still to go after they finish this one, and Reversal, who just lost that position to Lucky Dog 2000 now, maybe he was a bit aggressive on the tire strategy, Fizzy, but it looks like he might come under attack from Suphrize Meh here.
Oh, and look at this! Finn has got right up to the back of Suphrize all of a sudden and is going for the move for the lead of the race with DRS on the ultra soft tires. Suphrize got super soft on. It will be better on the conservation, but still, ultra softs will have a lot of life in them at this point. So Finn takes the lead of the race. Can Suphrize fight back with the slipstream? Finn has the DRS though on the main straight as well. So at the moment, Suphrize will have to settle behind. We haven't seen, as you mentioned earlier, much of Suphrize in this race, but suddenly it seems like maybe Finn has pulled a strategic masterstroke by selecting the ultra softs on its final stint.
Yep, it certainly seems that way. We'll see as the race closes in. Again, they just started lap 29 of 35, so there is a little bit more than a handful of laps still remaining. We'll have to see how that shapes out as the Haas boys prepare to do battle once again into turn 1. This is becoming a regular thing. Incredibly, while they're battling, it seems they're actually closing up to the cars ahead as well. I'm not entirely certain about that. I haven't really been paying attention to the gap, but I'm pretty certain that they're closing in on Limitless, who did make that very early stop for the Ultra Softs, and Reversal now coming under attack from Limitless on those Ultra Softs, and Reversal, another guy who I suspect maybe is struggling on his tires at the moment. Here goes Suphrize. After losing the lead on the previous lap, he does pick up the DRS on the Flying Finn. Finn does not bother to defend the inside line, and Suphrize does get it all slowed down for that final chicane. Opens up the DRS as he retakes the lead of the race and starts lap number 30. Reversal now with Limitless going around the outside at the chicane. Meanwhile, Killer Whale doing the same thing to his teammate Danny M7 around the outside at the hairpin, and he's gonna, well, actually he's not gonna pick up the DRS here. Danny's got the DRS and he retakes that P11. And again, it definitely feels like they're really starting to close up on the cars ahead. That gap is visually closer, in my opinion. Oh, possibly some oversteer for Danny as he came out of that final corner. On board with Suphrize right now, who again has retaken the lead on lap number 30 here, skipping ahead to 31 now, and Suphrize still defending from the Season 12 champion, the Flying Finn, with those ultra soft tires, clearly faster at this stage of the race. But of course, Suphrize will have the advantage as these laps begin to tick away. I would really like to see the tire wear on both of these cars, if at all possible. And again, down the DRS straight, Fizzy. We're seeing the same thing. I mean, clearly a mature drive from both of these guys. I mean, they're defending when it matters, but they're able to recognize when they have no chance at defending something. Incredible stuff from Killer Whale. Very late braking maneuver at the hairpin, and that is AOR Reversal. Again, I think he's struggling on his tires. I haven't actually seen the percent of wear that he has on those softs right now. Oh, and that is a track limit warning for the flying fin. Oh my gosh. That is not something you see very often. Strees very late on the brakes into turn number 6, retakes the lead. Incredible stuff we're seeing here. The Killer Whale and Denny M7 both overtake AOR Reversal. Yes, and there's contact between the two of them. Reversal's gotten back involved as well. He cuts in front. Oh no! And it's tears for Killer Whale as he goes spinning into the barrier. That's going to be some significant front wing damage for the Haas driver, and that is very unfortunate with just a few laps remaining, Fizzy.
Oh man, literally immediately after making his way into the points position, 2 corners, he was there, and then that happens. That is, yeah, definitely not the sight he would have wanted to see after all that battling with his teammate as well. They were just having an all-out war in this race, especially on the final stint here. But that has ended now, as we are now looking at Falcon, who is into a nice point position again. Tire wear on the rears, though, are starting to be a bit problematic for him. He still has to nurse this through for 3 more laps after this, and he's got a car side by side. That would be Suphrize Meh in the Sauber, going up the inside into the chicane and gets the move done before the braking zone. Obviously a very tricky place to be side by side, and it's not something you see very often. It has happened in AOR in the past, car side by side through there, but definitely not very easy to do. And that is a major lock up from Danny, and he's gonna he might not lose a position actually. He definitely made the most he could of that you know, accidental corner cut, but he's going to lose the position to the Manor. Franglish with a nice around the outside move there on the ultra soft tires as well, and then the 6 skills also in the battle right behind, but of course for no points at the moment. Those 3 are battling for, and now we are back with the lead. 2 and a bit laps to go. These guys were so close here last season. We kept seeing DRS overtake after DRS overtake. That was earlier on in the race though, until Flying Finn on the final part of the race. Oh, interesting. Pulled away from Streets here though. They are having the battle at the end of the race just to make it even more intense for us viewers. Interesting that Finn backed out of that one. Didn't want to do anything crazy into the chicane and doesn't want to do anything at all into turn 1 either. This is definitely interesting. He wants to be behind, I think, here. Potentially going onto the final lap, Justin.
Yeah, or Strees wants him to be behind. It's tough to tell with these guys as we have a replay of that contact that we saw. Yeah, and Danny M7 just getting ping-ponged between his teammate and AOR Reversal. This is what it looked like from Reversal's point of view, just losing the back end out of that final chicane, losing the position to both of the Haas drivers, dropping all the way down into P12. He gets nice and late on the brakes, finds his apex wonderfully, and actually isn't affected by the spinning Haas at all. There's a slight tap there with Killer Whale, but yeah, from Reversal's point of view, I think that was completely innocent. Here we go with the Flying Finn. He's going to make the overtake on the penultimate lap, lap number 34, and he does take the lead of the race. And yeah, I'm starting to think that maybe it was Strees that wanted to make sure that he's going to pick up the DRS on lap 35, but that's always dangerous as Danny M7 pushing AOR Reversal a little bit wide. Strees, though, coming back at the Flying Finn, which puts everything I said completely into the garbage. It all means nothing. Final lap of this race, Strees grabs the lead into turn number 1. Clearly, he does not care about the Mercedes driver getting the DRS on the final lap of this race, and he's even starting to pull a little bit of a gap. That was an interesting move that really we did not see that one coming. RS Falcon, one of the one-stoppers, actually. It hasn't been a fantastic race for him, and he needs to be very careful here, Fizzy.
Definitely, yeah. Falcon started 4th. He's dropped a bit down the pack since then, and he's got Lucky Dog on the ultra soft tires right behind him. Of course, you'd expect both these guys to struggle with tire wear, but Lucky Dog looking slightly stronger right now. But now, Justin, we got 1 straight and 1 chicane to go in the battle for the race win at Canada. Street still hasn't had a win in this league. Finn has had a lot of wins in this league and will be helped by the DRS as we come into the final chicane. Will he have enough of straight line speed with the slipstream as well to get a move done before the braking zone? It does look like he will, Justin. And here we go. Unless we can get a great run out of here, Finn will win the race. Oh, I thought he was going to get nearly side by side, Justin. But Finn has won the Canadian Grand Prix.
Wow, incredible stuff. I mean, that was Suphrize's race for by far the majority of the Canadian Grand Prix. It was his to lose. Falcon actually still staying in 7th position, despite those extremely destroyed rear tires. He's getting some warning. I mean, there's lights flashing on his dash.
Lucky Dog disappeared behind him.
Oh, yeah, Lucky Dog did disappear. Good eye on that one. And Falcon's actually going to even move up to P6 as he crosses the line. That's interesting. We'll have to see how the penalties shake out with everything. Danny M7 crosses the line in P9. And in the end, this is what it looked like. Oh, Suphrize with 6 seconds worth of time penalty. So it turns out I think Finn pretty much had that race won once we got into the third stint that they were running after the second pit stop phase. Cupid in the end finishing in 3rd position, a solid 10 seconds behind his teammate. STS F1 Alonso, though, with a quiet 4th position. Good job from him. TRL Martin in 5th, again a pad user, and he still makes it into the top 5. Martin clearly a competitor. He didn't lose any positions as a result of that 3-second time penalty. Can't say the same for Suphrize Meh, though. Falcon does move up into 6th as a result of that 6 seconds of penalty for Suphrize Meh. 6 kills. The American in the Toro Rosso picking up 8th position and 4 points. TRL Limitless, again another pad user, does manage to pick up a couple of points for his championship, while Danny M7 in the Haas gets the final championship point. And it's good to see at least one of the Haas's was able to pick up one of those points that were on offer at the closing stages of the race. TRL Williams, Jason 97 F1, and CRL Hamilton all failing to finish. Lucky Dog 2000 now and Killer Whale 48 after that late race incident, all a lap down as well. But whew, I mean, we knew it was going to be pretty crazy, but I don't think we knew it was going to be that crazy.
Oh man, I mean, we've had 35 laps of racing and I still have no clue what has gone on in this race. So as for the championship, Finn extends, of course, the gap with the win to 50. Is that 50 points? Wow, 50 points. And only one though between Martin and Cupid. So at least those guys are still close.
Yeah, so as I mentioned actually before the race, at this stage I think Martin is more worried about the Mercedes behind him rather than the Mercedes ahead of him, much to the chagrin of all of us here, because of course we want to see that title fight between Martin and the Flying Finn. But of course, as we mentioned before, Monaco and Canada, both circuits that do not suit pad users, and that is what our championship contender TRL Martin is using. So unfortunately for him and unfortunately for the rest of us, it hasn't been a good couple of races, but I'm sure he will bounce back and be stronger than ever. Mercedes with a 131 point gap after just 6 races ahead of Red Bull. Renault a further 24 points adrift and 8 points back to Williams, who do move ahead of McLaren Honda. Same for Sauber, getting ahead of the American team by just 1 point after picking up some points here in Canada. So, whew, yeah, that was a pretty intense race, and we're going to go from one high-speed circuit to another high-speed circuit, although a little bit less change of direction here, Fizzy, maybe a little bit more downforce as well with turns like 5, 6, and 7, and even 8 and 9. So the Red Bull Ring is going to be up next. It's going to be round number 7 of this 15-race season. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thanks for joining me, Fizzy. Thanks for filling in for Ali for today.
Yeah, I will see if it's a one-off or not. Hopefully Ali can get his technical issues sorted. But regardless, I'm really looking forward to Austria. Absolutely love that track. So whether I'm here commentating or watching it, definitely going to be a good one.
Yep, we all wish Ali's computer a speedy recovery. So thanks, everybody, for watching. We will see you next time for the Austrian Grand Prix. Bye-bye.